Sadad is a town in Syria, 60 kilometers south of Homs, and 101 kilometers northeast of Damascus. It had over 3,500 inhabitants in the 2004 census, the majority of whom were Syriac Orthodox Christians. History. Early history. Sadad is an ancient village. It is thought to be the Sadad mentioned in the Old Testament, on the northeastern boundary of the biblical land of Canaan, the land promised to the Israelites. Isolated on the edge of the desert, the community has remained predominantly Syriac Orthodox, including after the Muslim conquest of Syria in the mid-7th century. Aramaic is still spoken in the village. Sadad had been an important bishopric in the past. There was a close connection between Sadad and the monastery of St. Moses the Abyssinian, according to Istefan al-Duwayhi. Some of the monks of that monastery came from Sadad. Modern era. In a report of 1881, a French military attaché described the state of insecurity of Sadad, whose inhabitants seemed to suffer attacks from the Bedouins. Despite the tax its inhabitants regularly paid to the tribes that camped in the region, Sadad remained in constant risk of raiding. The inhabitants had therefore created adobe barricades around the village and its surrounding gardens, thus preventing anyone on horseback to enter without dismounting, which an isolated Bedouin rarely did in enemy territory. Anthropologist Suleiman Jabber, writing in the 1980s, noted that most of Sadad's working inhabitants made their income in the textile industry, primarily weaving of bias and woolen mats for the Bedouin tribesmen of the vicinity. The Bedouin usually acquired the clothing from villages along the desert fringes, such as Sadad, and the latter's inhabitants sold the products either directly to the Bedouin or indirectly via local merchants. According to Jabber, the craft of weaving of bias was an ancient tradition passed down by generation to Sadad's inhabitants. Sadad was the most important market town for the Bedouin of the region, where they came to purchase clothing, tent equipment, saddles, coffee beans, tea and other supplies. During the Syrian civil war on the 21st of October 2013, the town was reportedly overrun by Islamist militants belonging to the al-Nusra Front, who set up loudspeakers in the main square, calling for residents to return to the houses. At least 9 people were reported killed, as Syrian army forces were sent in on October 22 to try and retake the town, sparking fierce resistance from the militants. Locals were unsure as to the reason behind the attack, though medical supplies within the town's hospital were a possibility, as well as the presence of a military depot nearby. By October 28, the Syrian Arab army had taken back control of Sadad. Visiting church leaders and returning villagers found 2 mass graves of civilians, including women and children, containing 30 bodies. They were suspected of being massacred by al-Nusra Front militants. 45 Christians were killed during the rebel occupation, and several churches were also looted. Demographics. The majority of the inhabitants are Christians belonging to the Syriac Orthodox Church. According to the Syriac Orthodox Patriarch More Ignatius Abram Karim II, Sadad had a population of 15,000 in the summer of 2015, but following the advance of ISIL forces in the area in the fall, about 2,000 inhabitants remained. Main sites. The village is well known for its several churches, in particular, the Church of Damascus and the Church of St. Theodore, both of which have elaborate, ancient frescoes. It is indeed unusual to find paintings on the walls of Syrian churches. Notable residents. Bassam Hillel of Sadad, priest and calligrapher in the 16th century. Bibliography